Hello classmates, this is Anthony Johnson. You know me as AJ, and here's my Gem 2. And this video was done to kind of give you some clarity and accompany the infographic. And I was tasked for Gem 2, Q12. Basically the question is there a feedback mechanism from business about IT performance, and does it help to improve its quality of service? First of all, we all know that there were 526 companies surveyed, and the type of respondents were IT and business managers. But what I actually set out to discover was, um, you know, do opposing views exist across organizational types for both IT and business managers that believe that maybe the feedback mechanism about IT's performance actually improve the quality of service. And of course, the types of organizations examined were nonprofit, for-profit, and unknown. Very interesting discovery here. But first, to actually accomplish this task, step one, what I did was isolate the responses by IT versus business managers for all types of organizations. And step two, I examined how IT and business managers feel about or felt about the question by observing the two most popular responses. And of course, I set out to form a hypothesis. Actually, I'm going to task you with forming the hypothesis. So let's go to the next slide here. First, like I said, in step one, I isolated IT managers' responses. And the four possible responses to the question are: one, yes, there is a feedback mechanism that helps improve quality of service. Two, yes, there is a feedback mechanism, but it does not help improve the quality of service. Three, no feedback mechanism exists. And four, other or please specify. Well, I can tell you something interesting happened. What I discovered, and of course the percentage, you can see here the percentage of the IT managers across the different organizations, the percentages are based on the actual sample size. What I discovered for-profit, nonprofit, and unknown, their highest percentage of responses you can see here, like for example under for-profit, they responded question one at 62%. Nonprofit was one at 66%, and unknown was one at 80%. But what I discovered was all organizations, no matter type, thought that there was a feedback mechanism that actually helped improve the quality of service. Now, simultaneously, I also found out that there were the second highest response was there across organizations. They believed in number three, that no feedback mechanism actually existed. So I'm like, I found that kind of baffling. So I decided to look into business managers, and sure enough, based on their responses, I got exactly the same type of outcome. So looking at the IT business managers' responses, we look deeper into the findings across organizations. Of course, IT and business managers both highest response was yes, that there was an actual feedback mechanism, and that feedback mechanism actually improved the quality of service. The second highest response was number three, that no feedback mechanism existed. So again, how can there be this consensus that there is a feedback mechanism that actually improves the quality of service, and simultaneously there is no feedback mechanism? So that actually raised that question. So what I decided to do was to look into the possible questions or the reasons why, and then other questions were raised purely based on this phenomenon. And I came up with, as you can see, examples of possible answers and other questions raised was: one, are managers, both, in some organizations unaware that a feedback mechanism actually exists? Or is there actually no feedback mechanism? Number two, both managers and some organizations are unaware of what actually constitutes a feedback mechanism. And you'll be surprised that some people are not familiar with uh, different types of communication systems, especially within organizations. And number three, based on the size of the organization, excuse me, uh, maybe some organizations said none exists because there was no actual, because of the size, they didn't actually need a feedback mechanism. And of course, I'll get a little bit deeper into that in just a second here. And number four, is there a communication issue between silos in some organizations? Like maybe business managers think this way, or maybe versus what IT managers think about this question in another way. So my comments on that was based on the type of companies. It was really hard for me to conceptualize that feedback mechanisms was not a part of the IT infrastructure. Moreover, at least some form of communication between silos exists to improve the quality of service. And with that said, posing those questions and giving you my comments, I'm leaving it up to you as a class to form your own opinion based on these findings. Thank you again. This is Anthony Johnson, and I look forward to seeing you on the discussion boards.